On Sunday, I go to Croatia for 8 days with my family. That is my partner Bridget and the twins Wilder and MacLeod. Um, and we are in Dubrovnik for a couple of days. Then we're island hopping for a few days, and then we end up in Dubrovnik. Um, whilst I'm sure I will engage in many activities during that time. Um, I expect to get some reading for pleasure done, i.e., not my prize submissions. Um, I never get as much reading as I want to done. Yeah, in the sense, I never get to lie about as much as I want to. Um, but the books that I'm taking are these. This is called Limonov by Emmanuel Carrera. He's uh, a very well-known and respected and loved French writer that I had never heard of up to this point. It comes recommended to me. It's essentially a sort of what's described on the back as a galloping, picaresque gonzo biography of a very extraordinary um, Russian man. And it says on the back, um, Limonov was a rogue, a bum, a multimillionaire's valet, a fashionable writer in Paris, a lost soldier in the Balkan Wars, and now, in the chaotic ruins of post-communist Russia, the charismatic leader of a party of young desperados. He sees himself as a hero. You might call him a scumbag. Um, so yeah, I'm very since reading Secondhand Time by Alexeyevich, I've become very interested in the post-communist or post-Soviet experience in Russia. So yeah, this seems very good or very interesting. So there's that. Second one is this Dodge and Burn by Serafina Madsen. Now clearly the cover is not aimed at me, but I know the text is because it was excerpted by the White Review, which is co-published and edited by Jacques Testard, who is the owner of Fitzcarraldo Editions. This is also the first book published by my future publishers, Dodo Inc. And it's essentially a short novel, a sort of slightly kind of mad, hypnotic, psychogenic American road novel. So yeah, so there's that. And then finally, which I've just started, this. This is the first volume of 4, which is the life of Lyndon B. Johnson. And it's by Robert Caro. And I've read this much so far. I have to say it is close to the most incredible piece of historical writing I have yet read. The reason I've bought it is I just saw Bryan Cranston playing LBJ in an HBO version of the play he did on Broadway. LBJ is a deeply fascinating man. He came to the presidency after the assassination of Kennedy. Then he won a new term, and then he ushered through what was called the Great Society. He brought in civil rights legislation that Kennedy failed to deliver on. But he was completely undone by the escalation of the Vietnam War and sort of disappeared into a kind of ignominious retirement after that. But really, this biography, I mean, it starts in the 1850s and will end, I imagine, his death around 1973 or whatever. But it is absolutely a kind of a birth of a nation, political nation book. But the level of compelling detail of the sort of the homesteaders of the Texan hill country I mean, even though it is historically accurate, it does feel like a kind of metaphor for the whole of the birth of America. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm. It's so thoroughly enjoyable, and yes, look, it's this big, and it's the first of four. Um, I will. Well, I'm not going to tempt fate actually, but my plan is to complete all four. Maybe not on the bounce, um, but this shall be a central part of my reading. So yeah, so that Dodge and Burn by Serafina Madsen, which is published by Dodo Inc., and then Emmanuel Carrère's Limonov, which is a Penguin biography. But I think biography in the loosest sense of the word. That's it. For any of you who are looking for episode 4 of my audio novel, it is over at Facebook, Neil Griffiths 1965. And there'll be a little pause before episode 5 and 6 because A, of holidays, and B, recording schedules. But other than that, I hope you're having pleasant summers, those of you in the Northern Hemisphere, and pleasant winters for those of you in the Southern Hemisphere. Other than that, yes, I suppose I need again to apologise for Brexit. Now it seems that we have a new Prime Minister in Theresa May. She made a very progressive speech about her potential government on Wednesday and has now packed it full of appalling right-wingers. So I can only see that this country is basically going to tank economically, morally, and in terms of political influence, geopolitical influence. Sorry, for whatever that means. I mean, you know, it may mean it may have no impact on you, but if you are interested in these things and you can't understand why we're doing it, I don't know. I mean, Boris Johnson as Foreign Secretary is absurd, stupid, and shameful. He will embarrass himself. He will embarrass us, and it just seems to me to speak very loudly of the coming incompetence of Theresa May and her government. Yeah. You know, oh, to live in interesting times. No, I really wish that stuff was boring at the moment so we could get on with doing interesting things.